I was gonna say it's been a long time coming, but he only left WWE the other day, and now he's in AEW. Malakai Black has debuted, and we're gonna talk about it all in just a second. So stay tuned. This is the Elite Maniac podcast. What's up, people? Welcome to the Elite Maniac podcast, where we discuss all things AEW. My name's Mex, aka WrestleManiac UK. I'm alongside my guy Mike, aka Wrestling. We have got a A-grade episode of AEW Dynamite, Road Rager, in fact, to review for you guys today. Answer your questions if you put any in the chat or you left any with Mike beforehand. We're going to get through that all as well. But before we do, please remember to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. And for our audio listeners, please make sure you subscribe or follow us on your podcast platform of choice. Leave us a 5-star rating as well, 5-star review. Let the people know the good work we're doing right here at the Elite Maniac podcast. Mike, you sound like you got an Elite Maniac in your background.
Well, I think there's a dog going off or something. I'm sorry about that, everyone, but
they're probably excited for the show we got ahead today, man.
I think so too, man. That was a pay-per-view quality show that we got for free last night on television, and man, I don't really know what to say. There's just so much packed into that show and last night when I was going over it, I was like, I kept missing stuff, because there was just so much.
We got Jonathan Rodney in the chat, nice and early. Bro says, been waiting for this. I've been waiting to talk about this too, because, gosh, this show, it was a very good welcome back to the road and, traveling and traveling fans and all of that. Even in the week, I think I heard Tony Khan say that every week is going to be like this. Like every week is going to be a jam-packed show. So
that's what he said, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. If last night was anything to go by, it's gonna be brilliant. I mean, just before we get into everything, what was your favorite part of the show?
Oh man, it's got to be that Malakai Black, Aliester Black debut. They did that pretty perfectly. And if you go before the show, I know Tony Khan was on Busted Open Radio, exactly like you were saying, talking about how these shows are going to be like really stacked in the future. And sometimes Tony Khan hypes some stuff up and it doesn't really live up to the hype, but it definitely for sure did. And if he gave this away on Dynamite, it's got to make you think, like, what does he have saved for pay-per-view? What does he have saved for the other Dynamites on the road? But that debut, which we will get into, was just very was crazy, man. That was great. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, that was probably my shining moment as well. Just because, like, before he was even Aliester Black, Tommy End is someone that I was familiar with because of his time in Europe, WXW, and all the stuff he's done here. So I remember how I felt when he was coming to NXT, WWE. And now, it's pretty much, I literally, before I went to bed last night, I saw that there's rumblings backstage that he could be there, but no one had actually seen him.
Yeah, I heard it on Fightful, and
yeah, the name was in place and all this, that, and the other, but no one had actually seen him in the building. And that in itself just goes towards his whole mystique of who he is. Yeah, the debut was handed pretty much, as you said, perfectly. Like, and he, we saw after he attacked On and Cody, we saw the smile that came across his face, the little grin. And that's as well as character stuff. I think that's also, the relief of being free from the prison that is WWE. And I like when people feel good and it's like the decision they made has been validated.
Yeah, dude, it looked like he was having a great time. He's supposed to be like this dark character, which he is, but you could tell that that was probably one of the best moments of his life, right?
Honestly. I mean, just
Yeah.
taking some of the comments that people are saying. You got Barry from Nonstop Wrestling Chat, great channel. You guys make sure you subscribe. Black debut was awesome, but that Hangman and Omega build, I can't wait for that match. That's gonna be wicked as well because they started putting the wheels in motion for that. Jonathan Rodney says, so glad Aliester Black is there. Absolutely amazing. I agree. And Ben Allison says, great show last night. Wasn't a fan of the camera angles though.
Oh,
I heard.
is that Wrestling Republic?
Yeah, I think that's Ben
What's
from
up,
Wrestling
man?
Republic. I think they had 2 hard cams. I think that's what was going on. But I think, as they get more and more on the road and they get used to arenas, that might be sorted out.
It did. I was thinking that too. Like right when it started, I was like, this looks like the Impact Zone from like way back in the day. Yeah, it was definitely a little bit off. And the lighting, right? The lighting was kind of different. Just different vibes last night, I guess, right?
But I mean, to be honest, I kind of saw past all of that because I was just so into crowds being back and everyone just looked like they're having a good time. But we've jumped in straight from the big talking point. Let's head back to the beginning, which I guess kind of set up for the big debut in one way or the other. So, Mike, do you want to kind of take it away with how the show started?
Let's begin, ladies and gentlemen. So we had Road Rager live from the James L. Knight Center in Miami, Florida. I did a little bit more research into the crowds in Miami, and apparently people were saying online that traditionally Miami is not that great of a wrestling city. And I did a little more research, and if you compare the Miami show with the tickets that they have for like Texas, North Carolina, it is like the weakest one, which is interesting. But the crowd was pretty good, and not too bad. It did get me more pumped for Fyter Fest, Fight for the Fallen, all those shows. I think those are going to be game changers, no pun intended. But first show on the road in about 16 months, been stuck in Daly's place. They did fill the crowd very, very nicely, and I was pumped for the show to start. Definitely looking forward to it all day. So when we hit that 8 p.m. last night and we heard the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, come out to face QT Marshall in the South Beach strap match, I was pumped to see this. I was thoroughly behind my man QT Marshall for this matchup. And, AEW's gotten some flack recently for some of the gimmick matches that they have been doing. But I thought that this South Beach strap match was actually pretty solid and definitely a good opener. You're nodding your head, so I don't know if you agree with that statement or not. But
I thought it was decent. The 4 corners thing it kind of interrupts the flow of things at times. But I thought it was okay. Like obviously we saw the kind of abuse of the whipping with the strap. Of course, with these two in the ring, one of them was going to bleed, and it was QT. We saw Solo get involved, which was good. I'd like to see him kind of be embedded into things a bit more. But obviously Dustin came out to take care of him. So I thought this was a pretty good opener. We had the flicker of the lights, and at that point, I guess no one really thought this was going to lead to what it actually led to. We just maybe thought it's whatever. But
that was crazy because if you guys aren't in the United States, we had a hurricane touchdown in Florida yesterday, and I don't really think it hit Miami too bad, but that's what they blamed the first. We had a blackout during the South Beach strap match, and we said, okay, is a debut happening? All of us were like kind of sitting at the edge of our seats. Then JR was like, no, it's just the weather. So we're like, oh, okay. Perfectly placed, which we'll get into later. But on the South Beach strap match, it did get pretty brutal with these whips. The whippings, they weren't quite as visible as in the past when like the bull rope match, dog collar, or when Cody took the lashings from MJF, but it still was pretty brutal. They were going back and forth at each other, just whipping each other, choking each other. Then towards the middle of the match, we saw them fighting to gain the corners, which is an interesting concept. In this strap match, you had to tap each corner in consecutive fashion. If you missed one, then the referee would stop. That's pretty traditional of how the strap match worked. It was a little bit odd. I will agree with that. And in New Japan, Toriano and Chase Owens, they recently did a Texas strap match, which was you had to go and rip the turnbuckle pad off. And it didn't have to be consecutive. So you could do like 2 and then come back. And I thought that was really cool. And I think that would have worked out a little bit better. But this was still an interesting concept, and there were some great moves. Cody got a triple crossroads, but we also saw QT get that diamond cutter off the top rope. As you were saying, QT was busted open pretty badly, but Cody did get the win when he hit those 3 crossroads, then banged the 4 corners, and I think that kind of shut down this feud between QT and Cody Rhodes. So Cody got the win, ladies and gentlemen, and I thought that maybe QT should have gotten the win. I knew that was slim pickings for that to actually happen, but it's really kind of just kills their momentum as a team. They just have 2 big losses, Anthony Ogogo and Cody. I understand why Anthony Ogogo couldn't win, but QT, man, I think he could have gotten like a cheap win, and that would have been fine.
It's lol Cody wins, isn't it? It's like you know Road Rager is gonna happen. I actually predicted that this was going to be the main event. I thought this was going to be the main event because it's Cody. But, of course, Cody will go first to welcome the crowd back. QT got the jobber entrance.
QT didn't even get music, man. Damn, he got done dirty.
So, yeah, it's just what we've come to expect now, really. It's Cody doing Cody things, if you like.
But the crowd was chanting Cody, which was interesting. I guess, because he's the face, so that's expected. But man, the Cody in live audience is so much different than Cody on the internet, right?
Yeah, 100%. But I think people on the internet like Cody, but like myself, it just gets a bit much sometimes. But I'm still a fan of Cody. I like Cody. But yeah, the factory, I hope they see better days after this. This hasn't really done much for them, but the group is still kind of promising. So let's see, how they kind of go on from this point forward.
Definitely. So that was pretty solid first match. I quite enjoyed that, and I did think that honestly the wrestling in this match was kind of better than the main event, but we will get to that. Earlier during the day, we saw a promo between Shawn Spears, I guess just speaking to the camera and in the backstage. He said that the reason he attacked Sammy Guevara last week for the match with MJF because of Sammy's ego, blah, 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 how much he hates Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara came out, slapped him in the head with a steel chair, and just said that this feud between them is just beginning. So I guess we will see some more between Sammy and Shawn Spears because Shawn ruined his chances of beating MJF. So there we go. That's going to be our next feud with Sammy Guevara.
Yeah. I guess it's funny because it's like, are we still having Inner Circle versus Pinnacle? But they've broken it down into, these singles guys are going after each other, the tag teams are going after each other. So I guess there's a bit more life in it.
I guess this seems like we're going to get this feud for, when is this going to end? Probably not for a while. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's okay with me though, because some of the feuds are pretty cool right now, especially the MJF thing, which we'll get to. Next up, we get a Tony Schiavone interview with the Cleaner, Kenny Omega, AEW World Champion. Omega came out wearing these ridiculous tiger stripe Zubaz pants and the Triple H type mustache. He looked funny, man. I don't know, but I dig it. I dig that style. We had Don Callis come in, also grab the mic, told Tony to go be a Tommy Bahama model in the corner, leave him alone. And then the fans started chanting that he got fired, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. So we know that the fans have been keeping up with Impact Wrestling over there, that he got fired from the EVP position. So pretty hardcore crowd in Miami for Road Rager. Callis then listed all the people that Kenny Omega beat in AEW. And I thought this quote was very, very awesome. He said that we have won so many titles around the world that we actually had to hire an entourage to travel and carry the titles out to the ring, which is dope. It's freaking awesome. That's the Cleaner. Yeah. And we definitely saw that last week on Impact. Carl Anderson actually came out wearing the AEW title. Don was wearing the Mega title. It was great. It's so cocky, so awesome. But there we go with that. Don Callis also said that there's no one left to beat. And there's no challenger for Fight for the Fallen, which was interesting that he mentioned Fight for the Fallen instead of Fyter Fest. So confused about that. But Dark Order music hits, and Evil Uno comes out. Uno asks Kenny why he's ignoring this person who's number one ranked, or why is he ignoring their friend. We obviously know who their friend is. It's Hangman Page, but they don't mention him in person. The crowd was yelling cowboy shit. They were going crazy. And the crowd was just cursing the whole night. So I saw someone say that Tony's going to have to pay some FCC fines for last night because they didn't mute anything. So definitely going to have to pay some fines. But I think that's a small asking price to pay for such a hot crowd. Yeah. Then Kenny Omega asks what the capital of Thailand is. Evil Uno says, what? And then Kenny said, it's Bangkok. He punches him in the family jewels, and this brawl ensues between the Dark Order and then the Good Bros and Kenny Omega. Brilliant joke by Omega there. I didn't know where it was going. I was like, what? Thailand?
Kenny Omega is just so dumb. Like, it's hilarious, of course. It feeds into this obnoxious character that he has. Can I just say as well, Evil Uno on the mic, it's just so refreshing. Obviously, he was the mouthpiece before, he kind of stepped back when Brody Lee came in. Now he's kind of reascended to that position, and he's just so good. Like, I don't want it to kind of be missed how good this guy is on the mic, how entertaining he is. And it's almost like, he's speaking on behalf of obviously all of the Dark Order guys.
For sure, dude. Evil Uno, I think, is doing a great job kind of assuming the role of leader of the Dark Order on such short notice. He had to do it after Brody passed, and he's doing a great job. Omega mentioned that he sounded really smart. He does. Like, he comes out and he's like an intelligent leader that like kind of knows what he's talking about. I like trust what he's saying. So definitely shout out to Evil Uno. And he had a killer TNT title match with Miro, and on BTE he said, Hangman Page, after my TNT title match, you taught me that to get back up and keep trying or something. It was just really feel good stuff. But speaking of that particular person, he came out, right? And kind of cleared house. What were your thoughts on this? Hangman Page laying into the Good Brothers, and then he goes up on the apron, buckshot lariat, or what happened?
So it looks like he wanted to do the buckshot. He was in the position to, and then Kenny Omega turned around and he lost his confidence, which totally makes sense for the story. That's the case. It's like, I've been caught, or now that I'm facing the guy that I actually need to face, it's almost like, I've lost my confidence, sort of thing. The anxiety kicks in, and that has been, all at the center of the story. He did get into the ring. They were jaw-jacking at each other and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the way this is just being played out is absolutely brilliant. It's making you, want more and more. And every week it looks like we're probably going to get a step closer to the whole, they're actually going to fight for this. And what's the rumors that everyone's saying is All Out, which is in 2 months' time or so?
It's in September. That's the rumor that everybody's saying. And, I've been kind of vocal on this, that I don't really want to see this, because I really do feel, first and foremost, I'm in Kenny Omega's corner. Fully, he's our champion. I'm supporting him. I want to see some more bangers with him with these championships. I think there's a lot more people that he could go up against. And I just think that this is so, while this is a great storyline and it's perfectly done, it's just so predictable because the fans are saying this needs to happen. This All Out takes the belts. Like, I don't know. I think that the whole thing with AEW is that they kind of do things randomly, kind of unexpected. There's a lot of surprises. Like, this is like the total opposite of that. It's like what everybody has laid out for the last year, and I'm not very down for that. So I'd like to see them swerve it, maybe do it some other time, or maybe have them lose and just really shake up this whole storyline. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
I agree with you to the sense where, obviously, Kenny Omega's reign in front of a crowd more or less has just started.
It was literally yesterday, and people are already calling for him, get the belt off Omega, get the belt off the Young Bucks. Like, what's wrong with you guys? Like, Do you have a little patience, please?
Yeah, and I'm fully in the same camp as, everyone loves the long-term storytelling that happens at AEW, so much so that everyone becomes long-term storytellers themselves, and they're now booking how and when Omega should drop the title. And I trust AEW to swerve the whole situation and not foreshadow the next winners of the belt. Ben has said here in the chat, it's so obvious the next champions are Hangman, MJF, Jungle Boy, as they foreshadowed it the exact way TK said they would foreshadow title changes. Yeah, I think even if we know those are the next kind of champions, the journey they can take us on before they become champions can change, like you're saying. So like for instance, I know I definitely want to see a Kenny Omega Andrade match for the AEW title.
I want to see Cardona take on Omega with the Impact titles as well. And as Ben said, people are calling for him to drop the Impact title as well. I'd like to see him go after a lot of people in AEW, man. There's some good people that we're forgetting about.
Yeah,
there really is.
Like we said, with he has been champion since December last year, but it's like now this is what matters. When we start saying is this person a draw and that kind of stuff, they can now do live planning with their champion as to where are we going next. Can we sell out this place as Kenny Omega's champion? So maybe the next 2 months doesn't mean at All Out that Hangman's going to become champion. We'll see how it plays out, but like I said, I trust AEW that the story they're going to tell to get there is going to be brilliant. So yeah,
I agree with that. And ladies and gentlemen, to get back to the storyline, Hangman Page, he was on the apron, about to do the buckshot lariat, and this kind of had flashbacks to Revolution when he was on the apron, holding up the ropes for Kenny to come out after their tag team title match with the Young Bucks. Was he going to do it? I don't know. He didn't do it. He's kind of afraid of Omega or something like that. Colt Cabana has stated that he thinks he's afraid of like embarrassing himself or just coming up short. He did not do it, and Kenny Omega got out and ran out of the ring. So we will see where the storyline develops, and obviously you can hear the storyline develop right here on the Elite Maniac podcast. But that was a pretty dope interview segment with Kenny Omega and the Dark Order. But after that, we had another great, surprisingly good segment between Ethan Page and Darby Allin with Jim Ross. And Jim Ross, a lot of people giving him flack. I'm quite tired of it, to be honest, of this JR hate. But he just showed everyone how great he is in stuff like this. A sit-down interview, getting in depth, and talking to the competitors, really going over their psychology. I think that's what JR does best, and he killed it here because we got a killer segment between Ethan Page and Darby Allin. They sat down with each other, and JR, quite frankly, said that he's disgusted by the behavior of both of them. They're willing to end each other's career, and he doesn't want to see anybody, be taken away from the business. What happened in their past to make this happen? And Ethan Page just basically went off and said Darby doesn't really deserve to be here. The only reason that Darby is here is because he made his name off Ethan Page on the Indies. Darby then countered and said, you know what? The only reason you're upset that I'm here is because I made it here first. You've dogged it on the Indies for 12 years, and I got here in a year and won a title. Damn, that's pretty good, I thought, right?
It was. I must say this was my least favorite part of the show, but I'm not poo-pooing the segment. I just thought, last week these guys were almost killing each other in the ring, scratching out each other's eyes, and now they're sitting calmly next to each other. So I just thought, that was a bit odd. But,
well, they can't touch. He can't touch.
Yes,
Ethan, right?
You're correct. That's part of the stipulation. So maybe that's what it is. But I did think, what was said was good. It's kind of good motivation as to why Ethan Page kind of hates him so much, and that jealous of him and all of that kind of stuff. It didn't do anything for me per se, building towards their coffin match, but I'm still very much interested in seeing their coffin match next week.
I am too. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. I hope that they don't come into any roadblocks with this, and and blow it, because I just get worried when we have these gimmick matches. I wouldn't call them gimmick matches per se, just stipulation type matches. You know what I mean?
Just don't try and do too much. That's it. Like, have the coffin match, have your high spots, make sure no one dies from any high spots, make sure the high spots go off correctly. That is it. Don't do anything, super crazy. Just while we're on that,
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. I think.
did you see this about Tony Khan got a refund from
Yeah.
from the non-exploding ring?
Yep. He didn't pay the pyro team $100,000, and he said that they shit the bed, which is totally true. Man, like it's still just months later, and what happened in March. This is still upsetting me. And on that subject, Onita, the founder of this type of match, he had his own show on July 4th. And dude, if you guys can go check out this show, it's on the sites. Okay, that's all I'll say is it's on the sites. But these explosions were unbelievable, dude. They rocked. The people were running away for how big these explosions were, and they were doing it inside like this small venue. The whole thing was filled with smoke that the neighbors actually called the cops because they thought the building was on fire. All I have to say is, if you're going to do this again, because Tony Khan said he's going to do it again, please call this guy. Because he obviously knows what he's doing and he wants to help. And then he said that he wanted to help and that they didn't accept his help. It's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, honestly, if you want to do it right. The fact that I guess now that clears it up that it was a botch because he got a refund and stuff. I mean, don't want to dwell on it, but I found it very interesting. But yeah, like we're saying anyway, any more high spots, if we're going to see a high spot in the coffin match next week, then just no one die, but get it right. And let's just keep it clean and keep it moving.
Yeah, Darby's gonna do something crazy, but he always pulls it off, man. And I just seeing both of them on this interview, and then the card for Fighter Fests. Damn, the indies are really hot in the United States, because both these guys, like 2 years ago, were just basically tearing it up in New Jersey and Game Changer Wrestling, and now they made it top of the thing, same with Jungle Boy. So impressive stuff. But we will move on, ladies and gentlemen, to FTR and Wardlow versus Hager, Santana, and Ortiz. And I thought this was the best match of the night, in my opinion. Wrestling wise, it was great. And my key takeaway from this match was, I feel like Hager has really improved. He just went off last night, and he was cutting sick promos before too. He's like, "What happens if you come at us when you get hit and you get hit again?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love that." And I know that a lot of people didn't really like the MMA match. I thought it was pretty. I still thought it was pretty cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, I liked it. And I actually got 4.5 stars from Meltzer. People flipped out over that. Yeah, people like, what? But I like this feud. And Hager, man, he's my MVP of the night, because he just went off in this match. He was just absolutely destroying people. Just an excellent bout. I thought Santana and Ortiz also, they look different. JR pointed this out. They look in shape. They're chiseled. They cut weight. They look like a really good tag team, and they got a great move set. FTR, anyway, it is always great. And then we had Wardlow facing off against big rock hard Jake Hager. And man, I love this match. What did you think? What were your impressions of this?
Yeah, it was fun. I feel like Santana and Ortiz have an extra pep in their step when Conan's around. This was the same in the Stadium Stampede match as well. It's just obviously Conan's like the OG and they need to prove something to him. It's just that kind of behavior. So
he's like their dad at the ringside. I got to show, look at me, dad. I'm
so they give an extra 10-20%. It's really good. And obviously FTR are amazing. Every time they're in the ring, they're just so good. With Conan attacking Wardlow after the bell with the the balls in the sock and all that, I was thinking, what are you doing, old man? And then obviously he got taken out by Tully. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where this goes as well. Maybe Hager and Wardlow have already had their singles match, so maybe it's gonna go off into FTR and Santana Ortiz having their singles or tag match, should I say? But yeah,
for sure, yeah. I definitely agree with the Conan thing. It was cool having him at ringside, and towards the end of the match, we saw definitely an awesome segment where Jake Hager was just exchanging huge strikes with Wardlow. FTR then ran in, and with the help of Tully Blanchard, who's probably like just the best manager out there, because he just gets involved all the time and does just little trickery that gets their team the win. He gets on the apron, distracts Hager for a second, and the referee FTR is able to hit the big rig, their tribute finisher to Mr. Brody Lee, and then Wardlow got the pinfall victory. So the Pinnacle took the win against the Inner Circle in this. And as you said at the end, Conan came in with the Mad Ball, which I guess it's like a prison object. Yeah. It's a sock with something in it. Usually it's bars of soap or locks. And he tried to hit Wardlow, and then he got chop blocked by Tully Blanchard. So we got multiple feuds going on here. We have the Hager, Wardlow, we have FTR, Santana, and Ortiz, and now we have Conan and Tully Blanchard. Then we have MJF going on with Jericho, and then Sammy and Sean Spears. So just lots of storylines interdeveloped with this. And this was my favorite match of the night. I just really thought it was good, and the crowd was enjoying it, and it was hot, man.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll move on to something I popped for personally. I was like, yes, are you kidding me? And this is at the time. So last night I was like, it was at like 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It was a really great first hour. And I was like, wow, this is an awesome first hour. This was kind of like at 9, and I was like, oh man, we only have an hour left. Like, this is a really solid show. I'm loving the crowds back and everything. I don't want this to end. And my cousins, my 2 cousins came in, they watched it with me. I always really like when my cousins come in, because they know about wrestling, but they're kind of casual fans. So it's a very good gauge of what's working and what's not. Yeah. If they're reacting to stuff, it's like, okay, this is good. And if they're not, it's like, yeah, maybe this isn't too good. So this is when they kind of came in, and I'll give you some of their input throughout the rest of the show. But what I really loved, randomly, JR says this. He goes, Moxley will defend the IWGP United States Championship, the premier U.S. expansion title of New Japan, against Machine Gun Carl Anderson next week on Dynamite. Carl cuts a promo saying he's returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he wants to bring that belt back when the Good Brothers compete in the Tag Team Turbulence tournament next week. He says that the fact Moxley has this belt is just it makes him and Gallows sick. And I'm a big Moxley guy. Everybody knows that, who follows me, that I just always root for this guy to win. We mentioned Heyman Page might be the next champion. I'd be fine with John getting it back, to be honest. But having said that, I will be unbiased here. I think it would be pretty sick for Carl to win that belt. And I think there's a strong possibility that he does so. If you think about it, Moxley has no one in his corner, really. Eddie Kingston kind of went off with Penta. I'm sure they're still friends and everything, but it's kind of faded. The Elite, and it's got Gallows, Anderson, Nakazawa, Brandon Cutler, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Don Callis. That's basically like a 6-on-1 handicap match, and there's going to be trickery in this match. So I think Carl's going to take this belt off Moxley next week. What do you think?
Well, like you just said, that's the. I mean, I don't want to discredit Carl Anderson, because those that have seen him in Japan, Bullet Club days early with Prince Devitt and that,
he's so good.
Carl Anderson is brilliant. Yeah, Carl Anderson is so good. I can't remember what year it was, the G1 finals. Carl Anderson was amazing. So, yeah. However, the only way he is going to beat another massive guy in Moxley is if everyone else gets involved, as you just said. So,
but on the surface level, like you just said, this guy's a G1 finalist. That's no easy task to do. He's a better wrestler than Moxley.
Yes. 100%.
And he's never had a singles title in New Japan. And people have always said, man, I think Carl Anderson should be IWGP heavyweight champion. Do I dare say it? Do I want to root for him? I don't know.
I can't see it happening, but if it does happen, it's by how you're saying. It's by people just getting involved. And I think this is them just putting Moxley back doing something relatively important on a pay-per-view style show, again against someone that they know, that the crowd is familiar with. I think that's all that this is.
Yeah, well, I think that I think that there is a good possibility
Yeah, there
though.
is.
But we do have that New Japan show in LA, so who knows? And Moxley's booked for that, so I don't know. That's another thing to think about. But also something that I think should be pointed out. I think that if there ever was a time when the Bullet Club would come and help out, it would be now. And they've mentioned in the past to Moxley, do you need help? Because all these guys are gonna come at you. So what I will say is, I think maybe they either come to help Carl Anderson or help Moxley. And maybe we'll see that. Maybe there's a lot of trickery in the match. Everyone is attacking John, and they come out and help him. Maybe not. But we will see. This is going to be an interesting match next week, and I think it's going to steal the show. I think those who haven't seen Carl as a singles competitor will be quite impressed.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I hope he doesn't water down any of his offense for the American style crowd. I hope he does exactly what brought him to the dance, what stuff he was doing in Japan. So I'm looking forward to it. This should be a really good match.
Yes, you're right. Golden segment next. MJF and Jericho, the sit down. And I will say this to begin this: MJF got so much heat because he was mocking the crowd before we returned from commercial break. Someone told me that who was there, that someone rushed the ring to try to attack him. When does that happen? Like, since I know it happened with like Bret Hart, but that wasn't.
Yeah,
That was just like a psycho fan. Like, this is crazy. Like, he got them so worked up that someone jumped the barricade and tried to attack him. Like, he is so good at what he does, man.
I still think you have to be a psycho fan to jump the barricade and go into a ring with not only one wrestler, two wrestlers.
Yeah, that's true.
You've got to be a psycho in the first place. I don't prescribe to anyone ever trying that. Don't do it, guys. It's never worth it. But one thing I will say, which absolutely killed me, we obviously see them kind of try to cut the camera when this is happening, and we see Jericho step into the picture, and it's like Jericho's eyes lit up like, yes, the opportunity to punch a fan. And Jericho went and delivered his punch to this guy, stepped back, got into the ring. And for the first like 2 minutes of the segment, while MJF was talking, if you noticed, Jericho was just looking over his shoulder. Jericho was like, he was like, and you know what? I thought it was, yes, the crowd had been riled up by everything MJF was saying. But I just said to myself, isn't this just typical Jericho behavior as a heel, especially in these earlier days, as a weasel little heel, to hit someone and be running, or hit someone and be looking over his shoulder? I just thought it's brilliant. It's just typical Chris Jericho, even though it's, this is a real life situation right now.
Yeah, man, for sure. No, Jericho loved this dude. And before the camera cut, I see Jericho swinging, right? And I'm like, why is he punching MJF? And why are they cutting the camera? Like, what's going on in the ring? And then I realized what happened. I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, but you got to have a little bit of a screw loose to do that. So definitely we are not recommending that here. But this was good. I said it last week that I was really excited for these stipulations, because I thought the last time that there were stipulations, Cody and MJF at Revolution 2020, it was really one of the best storyline builds in wrestling. And I still stand by that. But MJF gave it to the fans. Chris Jericho kind of defended them as the baby face, and he laid out his stipulations. He talked about how Jericho keeps referring to himself as the demo god, which is kind of a shout out to Greek mythology with a demigod, and that if he wants to be akin to this Greek mythology, then he can be like Hercules, who went through 5, labors or struggles to become a god of Greece. And he's going to incorporate that in these stipulations. Because it's going to be 4 matches of Jericho's choosing, his own opponents that he's going to pick. MJF's choosing, and each match will have a stipulation. If he gets through those 4 labors, then he goes to the 5th level where he faces MJF, and that's it. That's how it has to do it. Jericho said if he doesn't get this, if he can't beat these stooges and then beat MJF, maybe he doesn't deserve to be in this company anymore.
Yeah. So I'm guessing we're getting MJF and Chris Jericho for All Out in September.
That would make sense with Yeah, the lineup probably four matches.
Yeah, and then we've got about 8 weeks between now and then to do these 4 or 5 matches. So yeah, it's good stuff. Obviously to close that segment, we saw the contract signing. Jericho signed the contract, and then MJF, goaded him into giving him a handshake. He said, "This is what we do to seal a deal in
This
NYC.
is what we do." And no, it's not. But okay.
I was coming here to check that with you, so I'm glad you said that. So yeah, cheesy grin, stuck out his hand. Jericho shook his hand in the end and gave him a Judas effect for his troubles. So yeah,
I wish he kind of went harder with that, but it was still cool.
Yeah. It was.
MJF's 24. He could take a little bit of a beating, dude. So just give it to him. I'm sure he's fine with it. But I'm pumped for this. I'm excited to see these stipulations. I don't know if he's going to let the Inner Circle. Well, I don't really know how this is going to work, to be honest. Maybe there are people that he just picks that are unsigned, and that could be a cool incorporation. Maybe I don't know. I just don't see him like beating all the Inner Circle, but maybe he does because that's what Moxley did. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. There's time anyway before All Out, so we'll see.
Now you mentioned that the Ethan Page Darby Allin segment was your worst segment of the night. But I got one that I thought was the worst segment of the night. And I don't want to get too much into this because we always do this on this show, talk about the women's division. We have said our piece here, and there's documented evidence on record of what we think needs to be done to improve the women's division. Obviously, we did not really see that last night because they threw Britt Baker into this feud with Nyla Rose, who I appreciate Nyla Rose. I like Nyla Rose, but she just really sucks out the momentum of people, in my opinion. You have a champion wins, everybody's really down for the DMD era. Then you throw her with Nyla Rose, and people are like, bleh. And now it's kind of like whatever. And it's just like a stupid promo that she cut, the wasted time of going in a tag match with Vicky Guerrero. Why did you have to do it? Nobody wanted to see it. She did have a quick one-liner about Saudi Arabia and blood money, which was obviously a stab at Vince McMahon and WWE, but it was also a tweet that CM Punk did to The Miz back in the day. I don't know if anybody caught that there, but I think that you could have thrown Britt against a competitor, really anybody in the women's division, Statlander or Ty Conti, just somebody to have a really good match with. And just seems like they always throw Nyla out there and it just doesn't work,
Like, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I'm gonna keep saying it. There is currently, and I say currently because I think things will change eventually, but there's currently no evidence that they know how to book their women's champion.
No, because this is happening again.
No matter who it is, we all thought, put it on Britt Baker. She will save the entire division. And apart from the tag match last week, I don't think since she's become champion, Britt Baker has been in front of the audience in the arena. The promos she's all cut have all been backstage. I don't think she's cut any promo with her championship in the middle of the ring, since she's won it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just can't remember it. And yeah, she's had the tag match. What are they doing? I don't understand. How can you get Britt Baker wrong? She was the hottest, property in the company. And now she's kind of just, she's trying to stay alive and trying to keep things moving. But, she's just obscurity, bro. She's just doing not much of anything. And the Saudi Arabia line, I know a lot of people are making stuff of it, especially with relation. They took another jab at WWE, etc., etc. Obviously, I think it's pretty dangerous for you to say blood money and Saudi Arabia.
I wouldn't do that. Yeah,
I wouldn't do that.
Especially with this kind of stuff that country has done to people who speak against them. I don't really know if I would go do that.
Like, forget the whole it's a jab at WWE and that. I just thought, like, politically and stuff, it is just a bit of a dangerous line to say anyway. So yeah, fingers crossed, nothing happens. Nothing
that
comes
kind of
of
takes some guts to do. So Yeah, but not.
I just thought it was a bit dodgy. It was a bit out there, and they would like to push the boat out and try different things. I get that.
I don't think you should say that also when your boyfriend's there. Like, I don't want him to get any retribution for it.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
if they send Adam Cole over to do a Saudi Arabia show and something happens.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb. I don't know whose idea that was.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I think it thinks everyone's gonna react. It sounds great, blah blah blah. But when you actually do it, this maybe shouldn't have happened. But we just hope that it's just a throwaway line and it's just forgotten.
Definitely. I didn't write this down for the next segment. So this, I obviously, what we're going to talk about next. I didn't even write this down because I thought I did, but I was just, I guess, so in shock that I didn't. We had Arn Anderson come out.
Yep.
And he said it's so great to be back in Miami. Tony Schiavone's loving it. He's just thanking the crowd and everything like that. I don't really know what the purpose of him being out there was. I thought it was going to be some stupid feud with Brock Anderson, but the power goes out. And it goes out for like 30 seconds. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe there's actually a weather issue.
Yeah.
No weather issue. Lights pop back on, and Malakai Black, Tommy End, Aliester Black of WWE standing in the ring, looking evil, looking awesome. And the crowd goes nuts for this. Like, he got a mega pop for this crazy reaction. And then he just roundhouse kicks Arn Anderson beautifully in the face. Arn sells it great. Cody comes in the ring, kind of says, back up. Like, what are you doing? Delivers a kick to Cody, and man, this was so freaking awesome. I don't even know what to say about this, dude. This was sick,
bro. This is wrestling. This is what we all want. We all want, our favorites to show up and surprise us and do cool things, do cool spots, for them to be happy as well. Like, this is what it's all about. You're not a wrestling fan if you're not into the surprises that come with it. This is exactly what it is. I'm seeing Alex Harrison here in the chat. He's written another WWE/AEW couple. I'm not sure if that's in relation to what we're talking about, but I'm not here to. I don't hear the whole WWE guys getting pushed and this, that, and the other, and if you like them so much in WWE and you complained when they got mistreated, now they're in somewhere that they could be treated well. We can't complain that they're here in AEW, this, that, and the other. AEW's got another TV show coming as well, a Rampage that's going to start in the next month or so. So those guys, everyone's going to be spread out over 2 shows. This is amazing. This is what we love wrestling for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm very happy for Malakai Black. Him and his wife now, Zelina Vega, Thea Trinidad, are back on TV within a week. So yeah,
very weird that she didn't come with him. But I don't know. So
what? I was thinking the minute he debuted, I literally, after celebrating, I was thinking, why the hell did Zelina go back to WWE?
That was stupid, man. But I mean, that's her decision, right? But
at the same time, if you're looking at how AEW are treating the women's division, or at least the women's champions, maybe she wants to be more than a valet. And if you're looking at that kind of evidence, and I don't know if she is looking that far, I'm really just suggesting something. It may make you think, well, do I want to go back over there, or back to go to AEW where the women's champion isn't,
Yeah, man. That's definitely true. They're booking it like New Japan is booking it, where they don't even have a women's division and they just have Stardom. It's interesting. I don't get it, but that's another point. But yeah, maybe she didn't want to be a valet.
Yeah, maybe she wanted to do more than be a valet. And right now in North America, like, the premier place for women's wrestling, whether it's the best is another conversation, but the premier place for women's wrestling or women to be featured in wrestling is WWE. So there's no issue with spreading their eggs in the basket. One of them can be in WWE, one can be in AEW. It's all money for their household at the end of the day. So as long as they're both happy, That's what's important.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that statement. I know we had some kind of back and forth a couple of weeks ago about the validity of that statement, but now just I kind of was cemented that you're probably right when the title changed and we didn't really get any differences in the booking process. But we'll see. Hopefully something happens. But nonetheless, Malakai Black is in AEW. He's all elite, and we are very excited about that. And I'm super pumped, and I'm really happy for the guy. I can't wait to see this. And those kicks were freaking awesome. He looked like a damn master kung fu guy. It was dope.
Someone put something into one of our group chats today, how Malakai Black is obviously saying he's the friend of the devil, and how Miro is saying he's God's favorite champion. That maybe that feud writes itself. Miro versus Malakai Black for the TNT championship.
Yeah, man. Damn. It looks like he's going after. I feel like everybody comes in and goes after Cody first. Like Cody's so good with that. Like you can't dog on Cody for that. Like Cody, like.
But that's exactly where it should be. You know what? Funny enough, 2 weeks ago, I made a video on my channel about what Cody should be doing and how this factory stuff is a bit lower.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing
like that. Yeah, and how I said that Andrade's first feud should be with Cody. And I think we spoke about that here as well. Now, they haven't quite chosen Andrade, they've chosen someone else, but this is where Cody should be. If he wants to be the guy that's kind of going against the guys coming in, it should be these kind of high-level guys, because if you then beat Cody, yeah, you're in the TNT picture, you're in the AEW championship picture. And it makes sense now, because if a Go-Go was to beat Cody, was he going to jump to the world title straight away? Probably not. So this is where Cody should be positioned. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, Cody's a great American baby face, like face of the company, face of the revolution. Like he's just a good guy to put in there. That's what Cody's so good at. So 100%. Can't dog him for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a little bit left to go. There's such a stacked show that it's just hard to fit everything into this our hour time allotment, but we will continue trucking along with the Andrade debut versus Matt Sydal. And I thought that these two did very well. There were kind of some people disappointed with the match, but man, I got these like Naito vibes when he came out with this like pinstripe suit and this mask and the valet. Like he just looked like LIJ from New Japan. Like it was cool. Interesting choice to wrestle in suit pants, but I don't know. He did relatively well, and this was a relatively good match. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I thought it felt a bit slower paced than I expected, but you can't give them everything on day one, can you? You got to kind of build into it, and once you having a full on feud with someone, that's when we'll probably see his full arsenal. But yeah, I was just happy to see him. The guy that came out with him and Vicky Guerrero, his assistant or something like that. It's like, who is he? What does he bring to the table?
Yeah, who was that guy?
Like, yeah, it's just a bit like, either give him a name and give him a purpose, or like, yeah, just why is he there? But yeah, I think they'll get it right. They'll get it right with him. It's still very much early days. I'm looking forward to what's next.
So yeah, apparently my house today is just booming with energy. We've got a bunch of phone calls coming in. Sorry about that. But Andrade, he did get the win against Matt Sydal, which was kind of expected with his El Idolo finisher, which was kind of like a flatliner. But it was pretty good, and he definitely he looks like a star, and I really think that he definitely has the chance to win world titles in AEW. I don't know. I think. I don't agree with everyone that his debut and his like introduction kind of sucked out. I've been enjoying seeing him. So, yeah, man, this was just such a stacked night. How about this mixed tag match?
It was fun.
It was Bunny and the Blade versus Orange Cassidy and Statlander. And as I mentioned, my cousins watched this with me, and the casual fans. They popped hard for Orange Cassidy. They always pop hard for Orange Cassidy. They love that guy. And it's easy to see why. He's just awesome. So I thought that this was going to be full intergender action. It wasn't. And JR mentioned that it was only the guys going against the guys, the girls going against the girls, which was something that we saw in the past. However, we kind of got blurred lines here, and I wanted them to pull the trigger with this. I wanted them to fully tag in Statlander and tag in Blade and have them go at it. And for those that have followed anything in the independent circuit, you know that Statlander and Orange Cassidy have had wars on the indies for the IWTV title. Like, they've gone at it, and they both have experience with that, and they've been quite good matches. To my knowledge, I don't think WWE has done this yet. I don't know. I might be misspeaking.
In terms of what they do mixed tag matches, but
a woman going against them.
It's women against women, men against men.
Like, it hasn't been since like China has been around, right? Or Nia Jax, maybe.
They don't cross the lines.
Why don't we cross the line?
Domestic abuse. That's why.
They
don't want to put it. They don't want to put something that looks like domestic abuse into people's heads. They don't want to show it on TV. A man fighting a woman and stuff like that. So that's why it's women stick to women, men stick to men.
I think I get that sentiment, but I think on the other end of it, it has the potential to show like how strong these women's competitors can be to go toe to toe with the guys and kick ass.
And yeah, of course, you saw Statlander do the big 450 onto Blade. So you see the odd move, women doing it onto men. And even sometimes you see the odd move of men doing moves onto women. But it is, the minority and not the entire thing.
It's definitely an indie thing.
Yeah, I think Impact, men fight women full on. But Impact's not on TV, remember?
Impact is on TV. But it's not on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not on like national TV. Like AEW is on TV.
Like,
WWE
people are going to see it
on TV. People are going to see it. So that's why it's best to stay away from it. But yeah.
But I was fully, I don't know. I guess I just really like independent wrestling. When I go to the shows, it's really easy for me to get into it. Small kind of crowd. I just really enjoy that type of wrestling. So I was waiting during this whole match that we're going back and forth. The women were going, Bunny and Statlander were going at it. Blade and Orange Cassidy were going at it. Then there was a point where Statlander was in. She was the legal person. And I was just like, do it. She was up on the top rope. And she pulled the trigger. So she did. So props to AEW for having the guts to do this. She hit a 450 splash on Blade. And my cousins, the casuals, they were like, yeah. And then Orange Cassidy came in. He was a legal man, got to follow the rules, got the pinfall victory. So we have technically crossed that threshold, I guess, as of last night.
Yeah, like you said, it's going to happen here and there. But we're not going to get used to men fighting women full on.
No, you know what happened with Ospreay did that, and people flipped out. So you're definitely right on that. But solid match. I quite enjoyed this match, so I really can't complain. We did have AEW giving Jungle Boy a trophy for 50 wins. My cousin in the back was like, what those are, why did they give him a trophy? I thought they were work matches. I was like, you moron. Like, but congrats to Jungle Boy. And then we had a great surprise segment that I really enjoyed. America's Top Team. It's an MMA gym in the United States who trains Nunes, who is probably the top female MMA fighter in the world, and Jorge Masvidal, great MMA fighter, also Ultimate Fighting. This guy came out who was, I guess, representing them. They were at the show watching it in Miami, and this guy's name was Dan Lambert. He came in, he was like, I got invited by Tony Khan. I brought my fighters to see this show. I'm a big professional wrestling fan, but AEW sucks. And then he went on this like, let me grab everything from Twitter that everybody's saying and grab everything that Cornette's saying and just trash AEW, talking about how he likes the territories, the 80s better, blah, blah, blah. Like this, thanks for your hospitality, Tony, but this show sucks.
Yeah.
Murder Hog Monster Lance Archer comes out, which I don't know about that, but
yeah,
he attacked him and I gave him the black arrow. The crowd popped for that. I didn't really care for Lance coming out. I just thought this guy could cut a mean promo, and I don't know, like, are we getting a UFC AEW like crossover? Like, are we? I don't know. Like, Lance did look at Jorge Masvidal at the end. I don't know. I just like what I took away from this was that this guy can cut a mean promo, and this was kind of like good to heat up the crowd. I didn't really think like, oh, Lance looks awesome.
Yeah, he was good. Some people I think have said he used to be an Impact or something like that. Look, I'll take back what I said about Darby Allin and what's his face, Ego, Ethan Page. This was probably the worst segment of the night for me, but it's only because I don't really know who that guy was. The promo was brilliant. He can cut a mean promo, that's for sure. But and then like you said, Lance Archer coming out. It's like, is he the guy to make the save? Like, it's they set Lance Archer on fire, and then they put the water on him, and then they reignite the flame on Lance Archer, and then he's out, doing nothing again. So yeah, I just wasn't really into this at all.
I would have had Hager come out because he's an actual MMA fighter.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But I, honestly, the takeaway from this is, the guy can cut a promo, and I'd be down to see the fighters come back for something. And it's always good to have crossover. Like that's gonna, that's gonna transcend wrestling media and hit the mainstream media, ESPN, all that stuff, because these people are big in the United States. Whether you've heard of them or not, UFC is huge. So I don't know. Yeah, just a little odd with Lance Archer, but I definitely got a crowd reaction. So I guess what more can we ask for with that? Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we will go on to the world title picture. And if you haven't subscribed to the Elite Maniac podcast, Spotify, Apple Music, and check out our latest episodes, give us a thumbs up, a review, everything like that. Follow us on Instagram. We're running ads now on Instagram. We got that up for the new people. So hopefully we get some new ones, ladies and gentlemen. AEW World Tag Team title match and a street fight. Kingston and Penta versus the Young Bucks. I don't know, man. I didn't really like this match.
So this wasn't designed to be like a brilliant wrestling match. This was designed to be a big way to end a brilliant show, spot fest, just complete chaos, send the crowd home excited and pumped for next week. And I think it kind of achieved that. Like
it did.
I was, if I was to be disappointed by anything, I was disappointed that the Young Bucks cut their facial hair.
Yeah, man, that was really working. They did come out looking like idiots with jean shorts, and
that was funny.
My cousin was like, "What's up with these people?" And I was like, "I don't really know how to explain it. Like, they're just kind of trying to piss everybody off." But my gripe with this match, and I know I've been watching a lot of death matches lately, but I thought that if it was going to be a street fight and they were going to do weapons, like I thought maybe they could have went a little more hardcore with this. Like there was like a couple table spots. We saw Kingston and Penta put Nick through a table, powerbomb Brandon Cutler, then Penta hit a destroyer through the table, saw a thumbtack spot, but they kind of missed the thumbtacks, and then we had a garbage can. Like I thought that they could have went a little more all out and maybe just done something else. Like I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Maybe like bring out like a different kind of weapon, but I'll leave it at that.
This is the problem when you start watching death matches.
I know, right? I was like, bring out a light tube, and
you're never satisfied. You want blood on every occasion, like, and I get that because that's actually how I like my wrestling.
Yeah, I like it bloody, man.
Yeah, I like as long as the blood makes sense. I always love a bit of blood. But like I said, I think in terms of what this was meant to do, it did it. Penta and Eddie Kingston got the win last week. These guys were supposed to cheat and do something dastardly. Nick Jackson, is a national treasure.
Yeah, man.
Every time I see this guy, he gets better. And I don't know how he keeps doing it. Taking out the referees. What did he? It was a 450 onto the back of Rick Knox.
On Rick Knox, yeah. That was nuts, dude.
I said, you are a prick.
Yeah, man.
You are a prick. But he's so good. He's so good. Oh, God, yeah. Nick
Him
Jackson.
and Carl could have a singles run.
Mm-hmm.
They're both good enough to do that, but exactly like you said, this match accomplished what it accomplished. I was just a little bit hungry for more. They cheated. The Penta and Eddie were about to pick up the win after some really great moves, some that Canadian destroyer through the table. Eddie Kingston was laying in some exploder suplexes, and they had the clear advantage towards the end of the match. And then right when Matt Jackson was about to tap out from this rear naked choke from Eddie Kingston. We saw Nick Jackson hit a 450 on Rick Knox, knocked out the ref. Matt tapped out, but then trickery happened, and the Young Bucks were able to pick up the victory by putting thumbtacks in Eddie Kingston's mouth and then super kicking him, which was a good spot. Yeah. So they retained the tag team championships. And man, I don't know anybody on the roster that's going to take out these guys because they are killing it right now. And unlike the World Heavyweight Championship or the world title, whatever you want to call it, there's a clear storyline arc for that of who might take the title. Really, no one in the tag team division right now is as hot as the Young Bucks. So we'll just have to wait and see who's the next team with the. I guess with the tag team division, they've really been following the rankings. So we'll just see who's next.
But yeah, with the crowds being back now, they've got some more pissing off to do. They've got like a new audience to piss off every week. So yeah, that's gonna go on for a bit longer just before it comes to an end. But yeah,
did you know Rick Knox was a deathmatch referee?
Yeah.
I feel like people don't realize it's funny.
Rick Knox has been around, even all the stuff that we see him do, especially with the Young Bucks, they've probably done in PWG as well before.
Him and Remsburg are the boys from the Indies.
Literally. Good friend of the show, Underground, tuned in late, but he came in the end. He says, Tommy effing end. I hope we get some vignettes for Tommy End in AEW.
Did you see that one he made last night, Underground? I guess the devil made me do it. Sick, man.
He said the Tommy End teases new name in vignette that references his WWE past. Yes, he was in the black and never used to his potential with the blackouts. There's a lot of good stuff they can do.
Dude, this guy's gonna be money. I could tell.
Yeah. Before we get out of here today, Mike, any last words on the show?
I guess we got a few questions, but they're mostly on Malakai Black. So let's group these together and have a last thought statement.
We got just before you go with the questions. We got Big
What's up, Adrian?
Adrian, Black Crescent Alliance. You guys make sure you're following him on Instagram. Black.
We're in a blackout today with Malakai Black, and all the questions were about him. Somebody said thoughts on his transformation, and Peyton Privatera, he mentions that you think Malakai Black will be two different characters. One, Tommy End, is less possessed and corrupted, and Malakai Black is like the devil worshiper. I don't really know.
That could be very fun. Obviously, in wrestling, should I say, one of the closest things we've had to that is kind of the Bray Wyatt, the Fiend sort of stuff.
And that's great. And people think I hate WWE, but I always thought he was a great character.
He is. He done it brilliantly until they killed the character, basically. So yeah, it could be done with creative control. It could be done 10 times better. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, man, I'm just excited to see this guy, and I think it's going to be really good. And I think Andrade is going to be really good also. But that was Road Rager. You know what? I really can't complain. There were a couple hit misses, but overall, excellent show. And I had a full. When the show goes by quickly, when like the 2 hours are just over, and you're like, what? That's when you know the show was good. Some of those ones in the past with the Friday nights, you were like, is it still going? Like, no, this went by quick, and it was a great show.
I will say pay-per-views are the one show that always get my undivided attention.
You're not looking at your phone. Yeah.
When I'm watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, I'm usually doing work or doing something for the channel or doing something. But literally, I couldn't take my eyes off AEW last night. It was I agree. Good. It was very, very good. And if this is going to be the standard for shows back on the road now, as wrestling fans, we're in for a treat. But yeah, guys, that was our review of AEW Dynamite Road Rager. Thank you for joining us like you do every single time. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Please subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. And our audio listeners, please make sure you subscribe and follow on your podcast platform of choice. Leave us with a 5-star review and let the people know the good job we're doing right here at the Elite Maniac podcast. Mike, any final words before we get out of here?
Thank you, everybody, and let's take this journey together of being back on the road. And I'm pumped for this, man. I'm pumped to talk to you guys.
Literally. What's next week? Is it Fighter Fest?
Night 1 in
Fighter
Texas.
Fest night 1, people. So we'll be here reviewing that next week, Thursday, hopefully at the usual time. But yeah, stay tuned to our socials. Myself, Mex, WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram, Mike, Kings Road Wrestling on Instagram, and we will see you next week, guys. Take care.